So let's go ahead and get started. I have 3 minutes after, so let's go ahead and hop in and get started. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So welcome everyone today to the Society of Thoracic Surgeons General Thoracic Surgery Database User Group call. Today is Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. So thanks for joining. On the call with me today from STS, we have myself, Carol Crone. We also have, and we have Sydney Clinton joining us today. So thank you, Sydney, for joining. We also have Ruth, our general thoracic consultant, is also joining us today. Thank you, Ruth. And then from our IQVIA team, we have Jean, Joe, and Melanie. So thank you guys for joining. In terms of the agenda, I'm just have a super brief STS update. Then we'll turn things over to IQVIA. And then, as always, we'll finish up with your user feedback, give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions. Again, I don't have a lot of information, a lot of updates today. So again, if you have any questions, please be sure to submit those via the Q&A function, and we'll answer all of your questions. All right, so STS updates. Again, the training manual for March is available. Just note, since the original posting of the training manual, the first of the month, we did do another update on March the 10th, and that update does address the post-op PRBC update that was discussed on previous webinars. So again, if you have not gone out there yet, again, just note that the training manual was additionally updated again on March the 10th. For fall 2021 analysis, as you're all aware, those results were released on Friday the 25th. We also have an additional release that will be coming out on Monday, March 28th. So next Monday, the resection for lung cancer reports will be available. Again, those will be available on Monday, March the 28th. Also, with the posting of those of that resection for lung cancer reports, there will also be an updated analysis overview that will be posted within the IQVIA library. So again, that updated analysis overview will include all of the composite details for the analysis overview, and also some additional clarifications, corrections that that will be updated from the previous overview. Also, another important update regarding the release coming out this weekend, the NIS data set will reflect 2019 data. The previous analysis have been utilizing the 2015 NIS data set. So again, STS did get an updated NIS data set, and that is being incorporated into this weekend's release. So the report coming out over the weekend will indeed reflect the updated NIS dataset. As always, any report-related questions should be directed to GTSD tech support at IQVIA.com, and then STS and DCRI will get looped in as needed. GTSD public reporting update. As you're aware, the next update is scheduled for the spring. It will utilize the results from this fall 2021 harvest. If you have any questions related to public reporting, please reach out to Sydney, and she can be reached at this email here, sclinton@sts.org. And Sydney is on the call today, so if you have any public reporting related questions, if you want to submit those, and if we can get those answered for you today, we'll get those answered as well. Just a reminder, here's just the harvest schedule for 2022. As you're aware, the spring 22 harvest did close on March the 8th, and we are currently underway with the fall 22 harvest. That harvest is scheduled to close September the 9th with an opt-out date of September the 13th. And that will include procedures up through June 30th of 2022. And just a friendly reminder to please submit your data early and often, and not wait until that very last week. So again, just a friendly reminder to submit that data early and often. So that I have, I'm going to turn things over to Melanie for a brief IQVIA update. Mel?
Okay, thanks, Leanne. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Great. Hello, everyone. Quick update related to releases that we have. We do have a release that's scheduled this upcoming weekend. As Leanne had noted, the lung cancer resection reports will be a part of that deployment. So on Monday, the 28th, you will see new options on the fall 2021 report. So what we want to also point out is that the prior harvests that you have access to, they will display, of course, the lung cancer mort and the lung cancer mort detail report. So those will, of course, stay the same. But going forward, with this current harvest, you will no longer see those, and you will see the lung cancer resection. We will, of course, post a notification, and I believe official notification or communication will be sent out from the STS. And next slide. And just to give a preview of what the new report options will be, this is a screenshot of what will be shown on the report when you generate that harvest reporting period. So you'll see these two new buttons for lung cancer resection, composite rating and the composite details. Okay, and the next slide. And also we wanted to bring to your attention that we also will be deploying updates related to the risk-adjusted dashboard for the legacy reports. So all of the legacy reports, we did have an issue that was reported where there were a limited number of available results. We have resolved those items, and what you're seeing currently within the report are that certain sections within those within that report, you'll see dashes. So that has been updated, and you will see those changes on the 28th. An additional 2 items that we wanted to also bring to your attention is the minimally invasive lobectomy for clinical stage 1 lung cancer. That calculation has been updated. That is, of course, found on the lobectomy STS-NIS compare report. You will see that the information related to that domain will be updated, and that will apply to not only this current harvest, but it will also retro back to previous harvest. It will be automatically be applied to those reports. So you will see those updates also on the 28th. And then the very last item that we wanted to raise, Leanne had already made note of it, is that the NIS results will be updated. They were using the 2015 results that has been updated and provided to IQVIA. So we will be presenting the 2019 NIS database results. Okay, and the very last slide is the standard slide in regards to if you currently have any submitted tickets with our support team. They are actively reviewing and escalating as needed. So we will continue to follow up with sites that have submitted inquiries to us. And we are planning another release, and we also have updated the known issues list for March, so you can review those items on the library. Also, we are tracking within that same document things that have been resolved recently, so you can review that list also. And I think that is it.
That's it. Thank you so much, Melanie. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, finishing up with our standard slides. Excuse me. Please contact GTSD tech support with report questions, and then, of course, STS and DCR will be looped in. My contact information you all are very familiar with. Again, just please reach out with any questions or concerns. Reach out to STSDB with any questions or concerns regarding your participation agreements, direct data entry, access to the platform. Just reach out to Jane and her team at stsdb@sts.org. Mark your calendars. Our upcoming GTSD webinars, our next 2 user group calls are scheduled for April the 27th and May the 25th at 2:30 Central Time. And our next GTSD monthly webinars are scheduled for April 13th and May the 11th at 1:30 Central Time. I'm sorry about that. Like I said, again, I didn't have a lot of information today from the STS perspective or IQVIA updates. That's all that I have for today. Again, there's one question in the Q&A But again, please feel free to enter your questions into the Q&A. We'll answer those. Obviously, we have a fair amount of time left, so we'll answer any questions. So please, again, submit those via the Q&A. So Nicole had a question. Will AQO have a virtual option this year? So actually, Nicole, we did just start planning, kicking off our AQO planning calls this week. So yes, we do plan to have a hybrid meeting this year. That'll include, of course, both the in-person component as well as having a virtual component as well. So we are still working through all of those details, figuring out how that's going to work, what's going to look like. So we are, again, just starting that planning, but yes, we are planning to have both the hybrid and in-person meeting. So Kelly has a promise document from AQO been posted yet. So that is a holdup on my end, but Ruth has been working on those documents from AQO and she has passed them on for me for review. So that is, I am the holdup on that, Kelly. So yes, it will be, that information will be coming. So I do apologize for that, and they will be getting posted out on the STS website. Will there be an audit for GTSD again this year? So yes, there will be an audit for general thoracic. We are actually having the audit calls with the audit company in the next within the next week. So there will be a 2022 audit. Carol, do you know, I don't know off the top of my head of when notifications will go out to the sites that have been selected. Do you happen to know that, when that will happen?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I think we usually send them out in April or May.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember that off the top of my head. So that information will be coming. And Dia, can you do a quick demo on how to review data when cleaning up missing data or errors with submission? So I don't know, Carol or Melanie, I don't know who the best. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
What happened?
I just missed the question. Hold on. So Dia had asked for a quick demo on how to review data when cleaning up missing data.
Oh,
or errors with submission.
I can help with that.
Yeah, Carol is our data cleanup IQVIA expert. She's very savvy.
I think so. Let me pull up my, is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not in the platform, so I can get that up as well.
Let's see. All right, can you see, am I showing you the right screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I got a problem with all of these screens.
No, you're right, yeah. Thank you.
They're all over the place.
You're
okay,
very...
so yeah, we could go through this real quick, Dia. So I'm just gonna select a site. I don't know whose site this is, and neither do you all. So we have 3 reports here to help clean up the data. We have the missing variable report, the harvest summary report, and the participant dashboard report. I'm going to start, so what you don't see on this page, what I don't have access to, is the uploader information. And I can show you that using an adult site. That might be helpful to start there. How much time do we have, Leanne? And I don't want to talk too much if.
Oh no, we have 45 minutes. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you had that up quickly. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I didn't have the.
It's okay. So this is kind of the uploader side. When you submit cases, you'll see, if it's accepted in, how many reports were accepted in, or how many updates occurred on previously uploaded files. It has a green check. That's really good. And then you're going to want to go to this view reports. This is going to be the very first place you're going to start. You'll go to the view reports, and this is where you're going to get your data quality report. Everything's going to take a second to load here. But thankfully, I'm in the office and not at home, because at home it takes longer, it seems. So we're going to let this load. This data quality report is just going to check the file that you uploaded. So it's not going across a specific amount of time. It's not looking at the whole entire harvest period. It's just focused on the files that you just uploaded for this one particular time. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, but let's see what happens here. So I'm gonna I'll see if that will continue to run. Oh, look at that. It just needed to be prodded a little bit. Got nervous when I clicked out of it. What you're gonna find here is on the left, you have a duplicate. You can check this non-duplicate. This is just going to show you your non-duplicate record. So if you uploaded a record that was already in the file and it replaces it, this is going to remove that replaced file. I think I'm saying that right, from the data quality report.
It will recognize that it's a duplicate and there's no updates. So,
Okay.
yeah, and basically that will allow you to filter those out. If you don't want to see those, and it looks like this file that was updated by this site, they probably just reloaded. Yeah, they reloaded files that already are in the database. And so, yeah, if you take a look at that, it's going
Okay.
to say no updates made. The system recognizes that the record was already there and there were no changes. So that's
Okay.
why you see that. Mhm.
Okay, got it. So maybe we should look at a different
Another file.
yeah, different upload. The reason I don't want to look at this upload is because this upload is just updates to files that were already in the warehouse. There's probably, you can see each of these records did not have any updates made. It's likely that they may have had, and I don't see it here. I would have said it's likely they may have had one file within a certain time range that had an update, so they wanted to update a larger chunk of data. But I don't see any files in this that have updates, so we can go over to another quality report.
Yeah, you see they did multiple times within the same time period. It looks like they were just then
Yeah.
re-uploading to make sure, I'm assuming.
Okay, so
Mhm.
let's look at, that's going to be a big one. Let's look at this from 107 cases and see if that's going to be any more useful to us. What you're going to see on this report, though, you'll have two tabs on the bottom here. You'll have the data quality report, and then you're going to have a critical summary report. If your file had any critical errors, those records do not get into the data warehouse. Those are records that you need to go and update in your vendor software and re-upload into the platform. You would know that it says critical error. They're not going to get into the warehouse. Then after this load, you'll see a spread, huh?
Carol, if you want to go back to give that example of the critical error, you'll see,
one.
yeah, exactly. That entry, that submission encountered a critical error. And so when you see that circle, the red circle with the white X in the middle, that immediately will let you know that that file encountered a critical error, and it will tell you at the time of the upload what the actual error that you're encountering. It'll let you know.
Let's see if we can pull that one up too.
That one will show you.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Melanie. And then you also know that the record had a critical error because of the difference between the files that got into the warehouse and the files that were submitted, right?
Yep. So it looks like there was one record that encountered. Yep. And you see how you have the label for critical. You can click on that label, or you can click on the pie slice, and then it's going to let you know. Yep. That one encountered a critical error for the, looks like the operative mortality, MT-OPD, discharge mortality status.
Okay, so let's look into that. So so this is the validation alert summary. It's going to give you all your warnings, your errors, your critical errors. Critical errors, the records don't get into the warehouse, just the record part, not the whole file, just the record. The other things that we'll share here are warnings and errors. Warnings are medium level of concern, just something you're going to want to check out. Might not be an issue. You probably don't need to do anything with it. Errors are a little bit more severe. It either means that we think that you probably want to take an action on the message that we're sharing with you. It could be a logical error where it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The data that was entered maybe isn't making sense. So you're going to want to check that out. There is, for general thoracic, there is an error. It's called for the ECOG score that will show up as an error. The message says that ECOG is required. The message is correct. We do require ECOG scores, but we also realize that in the current version, we don't have a spot to mark NA. Previously, that record would have been excluded from analysis if it was missing ECOG score. That doesn't happen in 521. So, but ECOG is very important to that population. So the surgeons wanted it left as an error on the report, on the data quality report. They want you to go back and verify that you really do not have that ECOG score listed anywhere within your documentation. And if you truly do not have that value, it's okay to leave it blank and just ignore that warning. That's one of the very rare instances where I will ever say to ignore, error, to ignore that error. It's one of the very rare instances where I would say to go ignore that error, to ignore an error. Usually errors require you to take some type of action and update something to your record. So even if you leave ECOG score blank, the file, the record for that patient will still get into the warehouse. It's just something that we really want you to be sure that that it's not available. So here you see that we have warnings and critical. The
And
warnings
Carol,
will.
sorry to cut in, but I have a visual. So for GTSD with those errors, if you want me to just at least share my screen, you can talk to that one. It has the ECOG and it has their filters also too, since we're using adult, but I have a good example if you'd like.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll just share that and then you can talk to this screen. If I can bring that up for you.
Okay, thanks, Melanie.
Let me make this, try to make this a little bit bigger also in regards to
perfect.
wording. Is that good for you?
It's still small, but
Okay.
we can see, and I can point to it on the screen here. So this is a site that has errors and warnings. So the errors the errors will show up with the yellow dot. If you click on the yellow part of the pie or on the word error, the record level validation messages will populate. So these are errors. You'll see here the second one where it says ECOG score. It says the ECOG score is required. So again, this is an error that you can ignore if you truly do not have ECOG score, but the surgeons really want to highlight the level of importance that ECOG score has for this population. So they really want you to try your best to try to find that score or get your surgeons to start documenting it. If you truly do not have it, leave it blank and it will not impact your record coming into the warehouse. Thanks, Melanie. I hope I did okay with that one.
Yep.
Okay, so this is I'm going to share my screen again, if that's okay.
Okay.
So this is the data quality report that we talk about, and then you could find the information, record ID, what the message is, the warning. If it's something that's actionable, you want to go check it out in a read-only form. If you are not a direct data entry user, you click the blue link and it opens into a read-only form. So that's the first place I'm going to check. And then when I get into, I'm going to now switch over to a general thoracic site. When I get into the actual meet, once I get my data in the warehouse and everything's been uploaded successfully as expected, I want to get a little bit more specific in my data cleanup. I'm going to use these first three: the missing variable, the harvest summary, and the participant dashboard. I'm going to start, I think I would probably start with the harvest summary report. And I'm going to work in small batches. So if I'm going to work in 2021 data, I'm probably just going to maybe work on a month to 3 month time frame, just depending on the volume of cases I have and things like that. So I'm going to start here, small time frame, and I'm probably going to work month by month. You may even want to do it by quarter. If you're a smaller program, you could even do larger time frames, but it's easier for me to work month by month. I know where I'm working. I kind of remember what happened in those months. And I might have different tracking, like outside of the database, I might have different tracking sheets that are broken down by month as well. So this is the, again, I'm working January 1st through January 31st, 2021. This is the harvest summary report. These are going, there's no outstanding validations. This site has cleaned up all of their data. What you would see here is if there are any errors or warnings for this month time frame. So perhaps you didn't clean everything up once your data got in, and you choose to work on it month by month going through. This is where you would want to do that. And I'll check another time frame to see if there's anything that maybe isn't cleaned up. But so for this time frame, analyze procedures, those are your primary lung and primary esophageal cases. And I had 6 of those. Here are the patients. No outstanding validations, and the record ID. So if I needed to go into the vendor software, I could use that record ID to locate the patient. Now, if I want to look at, the site might not submit any non-analyzed cases. It would populate here if they did. Let's look at a different time frame and see if we can, so here's a different way. So instead of going all the way back out and redoing everything, I can actually just change my time frame in here. So if I then just want to go to February of 2021, and I'm just going to work down that way. Whoop, why didn't it go? So let's see. Maybe it's not going to go. Maybe we have to change this guy first. Yeah, I didn't like that I was trying to put a later date in the date range box there. Let's see if this will load for me that way. So I just updated the date. I'm going down to the next month, and now it's going to populate with my February records, hopefully. So for this time frame, I analyzed procedures. I had 18 cases. This is also a great way if you track these using your OR logs. You know, what I would do when I was abstracting is I would have the OR logs, and then I would make sure off of those OR logs what I was expecting to abstract for that time frame, month or a year, and then I would know my case counts and what I should expect to see in the IQVIA I would expect to see in IQVIA versus what I abstracted in off of the OR using the OR log for determination of the cases to include. So no issues here. But this is where you're going to find that. Let me see if I can go to a different site who maybe has not super clean data yet. So that was the harvest summary report. Again, I'm just going to look at a small time frame. Let's see if I can find something. We'll look at a little.
Tia has her hand raised. I don't know if you wanted to. She may want to clarify or ask additional questions.
Sure, you can. Yeah, unmute.
Yeah, Dia. Yeah.
Hey, it's Dia. How are y'all?
So good. How are you?
Good. So I just want to know how I narrow down, so when you see the source patient ID and the record ID over there to the right, It's hard, I can do it in adult easy, but it's hard for me to find that patient because I can't find it by record ID. Like if I was wanting to fix something or see who the patient was, I use Lumetics, but I can do it totally with adult cardiac, no problem by the record ID, but the record ID and the general thoracic doesn't mesh. I can't find anything to identify the patient.
I think Melinda can talk to this. I think that, or Melanie can talk to this.
I'm
I
here.
thought that this record ID was developed.
That comes from the vendor.
Yeah.
That the vendor generates that record ID, and then the same as the source patient ID is also generated by the vendor. So you're not able to locate, you're saying within your vendor system by record ID?
Right. I can do it though with adult cardiac, but just can't do it with general thoracic. So should I reach out to Lumetics?
Yeah, you should. That number, that ID that you're seeing for both of those columns that Carol is showing, they're both generated by the vendor. So when you upload, we get that value in that DAT file.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want me to stop my review now, Dia?
Yeah, I mean, unless other people, it's always helpful to look at this because it's just so much info, but yes, I'm fine now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to stop. If anybody wants me to keep going, let me know. Put it in the chat box.
Carol, I know Melissa had a question since you're in the platform. Melissa, I think the minimally invasive. She had a question. Can you clarify minimally invasive lobectomy for clinical stage 1 lung cancer? Like, what is it reporting? How does she interpret the results? You know, what are the numerator, denominator? I know there is a right now the minimally invasive data that is currently being reported needs to be updated. So that's not showing a true representation of your outcomes right now. That's being included in the release, but I didn't know if you wanted to show the report that minimally and the NIS just to give an idea of how we interpret it or how they could use that at their site.
That criteria is also in the
It's
the
in the overview.
analysis,
Right.
in the analysis document. So just wanted to point that out too.
Yep.
Has the analysis document been updated with the correct criteria, Leanne?
It is. That's going to be released with the report this weekend. That's what part of the information that will be included in the overview this weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe we can go over that and just talk more about it on one of the next calls because I don't want to show the wrong information on the webinar.
That's true.
But to determine the minimally invasive, they are to look at an
It's
analysis
not,
there.
yeah, they're not going to see like this site. It's not meeting that criteria because of the calculation that's currently in play. So when
Oh,
you
I
scroll
see.
up, it's missing completely. So it's saying it doesn't meet it at all. And that was a part of the issue. So on the update that's happening this weekend, you'll see that come back. Some people
Yeah.
may see it now because if they have one case that hit, but that calculation has been updated. But the criteria, if you needed to understand the population makeup, and I believe the numerator denominator information is in the overview. So you'll be.
I don't think it's been updated in the overview. I
Yeah,
think it's
when it's
incorrect.
updated.
Yeah.
Yep, when it's updated.
It's incorrect in the overview right now. Right now, it was only looking at TIS patients who were minimally invasive, and it should have been looking at TIS T1, T2, and I think the T3. It's whatever T staging goes less than 7 centimeters, and then it also needs to look at tumor sizing and make sure no nodal involvement. So that has been updated. And that is what makes up that population.
Yeah. And like I said, we could cover that on our next webinar. Just once after this gets updated, we can give cover that on the next webinar and how to interpret those results and perhaps use how other sites use those at their institution.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that, Melissa.
Yeah. Peter has his hand raised. Hi, Peter. I don't know if you're muted. There you go. Oh, I think you lowered his hand. He's still muted. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry, going through the questions. You can have okay. So Nancy, I thought it was stated that minimally invasive for lung cancer results will apply to historical reports. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. Andy, thank you. Susan, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay. All right. No additional questions. I don't know, Carol or Melanie, do we have anything, or Ruth, anything that we wanted to bring up or address, anything that we haven't covered? One thing I did want to point out, I was going back through previous webinars and I just wanted to share back in the webinar recordings. I know Carol, like I said, she is phenomenal going through and giving a review of best practices for when a harvest close is approaching. So if you do want to go back and listen to a recording, October the 18th, 2021 webinar, Carol did a phenomenal job. And again, doing a review of harvest close procedures and data preparation best practices. So that recording is out there. If you're a newer data manager and would like to go back and review and listen to that, that is out there. Again, our harvest close is in September for our current harvest, but that recording is out there, and that's a good resource if you do need a refresher for best practices.
Wonderful.
All right. I'm not seeing any additional questions. Going once, going twice. As I mentioned earlier, we are starting our AQO planning calls. So we are getting ready to ramp up full AQO mode. If you have any ideas for AQO presentations or talks that you would like to hear at this year's AQO, please feel free to submit those to me via email. We will start setting our agendas within the coming weeks. So if you have any ideas of topics that you would like to see presented at this year's AQO, again, please email me directly, ljones@sts.org, and I'm happy to take that back to our AQO planning committee. Maggie has her hand raised. Maggie, did you have a question? I think you're muted. There you go. You're unmuted.
I do. I have a question on the risk-adjusted report that came out on the table. And I apologize, I missed the first 15 minutes of the webinar. But on the lung cancer morbidity, mortality, and cancer morbidity, mortality details, it looks like a lot of the data for our site is missing from that. We have like 179 eligible procedures, but nothing is really filled in under like combined morbidity, mortality, or morbidity. And I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Melanie, did you want to speak to that?
So in the current harvest report that you are looking at, fall 2021, those reports for lung cancer, morbmort, and morbmort, I believe, details, those are actually discontinued.
Yeah.
So there are no results. We did not hide the buttons, but we will be this weekend because those reports are being replaced with the lung cancer resection reports. So after this deployment, you're going to see the new reports, and those more reports are going to be hidden. They will be available in your previous harvest reports. So that's what's happening at the moment.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks, Maggie. All right. Not seeing any additional questions. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and end the call. If you guys have additional questions after today's webinar, again, please feel free to just email me directly and we'll get those answered for you. And again, if you have ideas for AQO topics, again, please email those to me as well. And I'm happy to take those back to the planning committee. We definitely want to make sure we provide the content that you all are looking for and you all are needing. So we welcome your feedback and your suggestions. Thank you everybody for joining today. Melanie, Carol, thank you for that demo presentation. You always do an amazing job. Melanie, team, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great job, Leanne. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone. We'll see you guys on our next monthly webinar. Is scheduled for April the 13th. So we'll see you then. Thank you all.
Yay, bye.
Thanks. Bye.